Yo, what is up guys, Big Tuna coming at your face, and today we have a video talking about the new class tunings coming this Tuesday, January 24th. Now, we're going to let the salt take over just a bit, alright, because for us Enhancement Shamans, this is another class tune. This is a problem, alright, this is another class tuning where we just haven't really seen anything, any bit of information regarding Enhancement Shaman at all. Talking about if we're going to get buffs, you know, what's their decisions for not really changing anything with Enhancement Shaman, anything, talents, you know, a lot of the issues with Enhancement Shaman, anything. So we're gonna let the salt take over. But boys, I gotta say, you gotta follow twitch.tv/BigDickTuna. I'm streaming there. I streamed yesterday, so if you couldn't catch me there, then you can catch me today. When this video goes up, I'll be live there on Twitch, at least sometime when this video goes up. But boys, let's get into the discussion, and remember, just stay calm a bit, all right? Don't let your emotions get the better of you, but let's just have a good discussion here, all right? Let's go. So before I really say anything, I will say, again, Blizzard has been good with the PvP tunings and PvP patch notes since Dragonflight started, alright? BFA Shadowlands was just nothing, like there was anything regarding PvP, at least good decisions. Now, Blizzard seems to be on point with at least, you know, the uptime of how much they're actually tuning PvP, whether it's nerfing classes, buffing classes, reworking certain talents. It's pretty interesting. Of course, it's, you know, we're starting anew, all right? Dragonflight is definitely the start to a, hopefully a start to a better Blizzard. So of course, not everything is crisp, not everything is, you know, probably the best decision, but you got to give stripes to where they're deserved. So good job, Blizzard. But let's take a look at what we have here. So this is, you know, just normal combat. This isn't player versus player, but obviously normal effects bleed into PvP combat. So we see here, alright, there's nothing really directed towards Enhancement Shaman. Stuffed Elemental Shaman, Restoration Shaman, cool. But we do have some general Shaman changes. So let's kind of read these off here, alright? So first we have Healing Surge, healing increased by 15%. Okay, interesting. Let's go down here. Mana Spring Totem, Mana Spring now restores 400 mana at level 70, was 200. And Totemic Surge reduces the cooldown of totems by 3/6 seconds, was 2/4 seconds. So let's kind of, let's disassemble the information we have here. So first off, Healing Stream, or Healing Surge increased by 15%. So this is going to make an impact, I guess. Of course, Elemental, Restoration Shaman, they benefit from Healing Surge. Restoration, not so much. I should take that back because, I mean, you never have the option to cast on a Restoration Shaman, nor do you have the option to cast on any healer unless you have a constant aura mastery up on yourself. Then you don't really have the option to cast. Now, Healing Surge increase, is it going to benefit Enhancement Shaman? Yes, but the problem with Enhancement Shaman isn't necessarily just how much you can heal. It's the fact that you can't mitigate any damage, or your healing is technically considered the strongest amongst hybrids, just due to the fact of how much the actual amount of healing you do, so, or how much your actual healing surges heal for. So just buffing that, cool. Let's say 15%, I can heal for like 100k normals, that's great, but it doesn't matter if my healing either way, no matter how much you buff it, it still gets pressured, no matter if it's on myself or if it's on my teammates, it's still going to get pressured. I'm still going to lose my mana, and the same issues are going to, you know, still come back to bite me in the ass. So it's not, it's of course going to help, I guess, but not in the way that we wanted. So Mana Spring, if you don't know, they're changing Mana Spring Totem. Then yeah, that talent that sucks ass, and that ability that's in Classic that also kind of sucks. Mana Spring Totem now restores 400 mana at level 70, was 200, so they reworked it, so now it's a passive effect. So basically, how it worked, place down a totem for like the next 15 seconds. Whenever you Storm Strike, you'll generate 200 mana, and prioritizing the healers in your party. Now it's a passive, so just whenever you Storm Strike, you'll restore 400 mana, again prioritizing healers. Interesting. I don't think it's going to be worth giving up a lot of points just to go into 400 mana. I mean, you know, I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess we have to be specific when we say, hey, Enhancement Shaman has mana issues. I guess, you know, saying, hey, we want Shamanistic Rage back, you know, because it was a defensive, which would solve our defensive issues and it would solve our mana issues. I guess that wasn't clear enough, so I guess they're just reworking Mana Spring. So, you know what, I guess I'll take it, I don't know. We also have Totemic Surge. So Totemic Surge is actually really good. I actually like Totemic Surge. Basically just reducing all your totems, so your Static Field Totem, your Grounding Totem, Tremor Totem, Earth Grab Totem, a lot of your good totems, and that's you know, one of your primary utilities, your totems, it's going to get reduced by 6 seconds if you do put 2 talent points in it. So your Grounding Totem is going to have a 24-second cooldown instead of the normal 30, so that is pretty good. But again,
I don't know if we're gonna want to put talent points into that. I don't think I will. You know, I'm kind of content with what I have right now with my utility. So you know what, but we'll see. So that's the normal combat. Let's scroll down here to the player versus player. Let's scroll down to what is kind of concerning. So you scroll down here again, nothing directed towards Enhancement Shaman. We see Restoration Shaman, Elemental, cool. Let's see what we actually have in the general Shaman tree. So we see here, Earth Unleash from your Unleash shield now breaks on damage and lasts 2 seconds, was 4 seconds. So if you don't know what Unleash shield is, it's an honor talent. It's pretty amazing. Basically, whatever shield you have on yourself, it'll basically discharge a certain effect. So if you have a lightning shield, it's going to knock somebody away, same distance as a thunderstorm. If you have an earth shield, it's going to root somebody for 4 seconds. And if you have a water shield, you know, only for restoration shaman, it'll summon a whirlpool that'll reduce healing and damage by 50% no matter who stands in it. So it is a neutral whirlpool. So it is a very good talent. All right. Now this is getting nerfed, so the actual your Earth Unleash, so the one that roots targets, is going to be nerfed. So it's going to break on damage and it's going to last 2 seconds less. So I didn't know that it didn't break on damage because I naturally assumed that every root, every, you know, fear, polymorph-esque ability would naturally break on damage, except it doesn't. I'm looking at you, Evokers, I'm looking at you, Warlocks. Yeah, it doesn't, nothing breaks on damage anymore in today's WoW. But I naturally assumed that was the case, but apparently it wasn't. So I guess that's a big old pie to my face, I guess. And it's gonna last a little bit less. So I really wish the damage break I'm cool with. I really wish it was 3 seconds instead of 2 seconds, because 2 seconds, that's just, you know, there's like 2 seconds, nothing in the game, no effect in the game lasts 2 seconds. Why? Because it's 2 seconds. It's like the bare minimum, which even sucks still, the bare minimum is like 3 seconds for like any effect in the game. So I really wish that was, you know, was 3 seconds, or I wish, hey, wasn't even changed at all. All right, Healing Shame Totem. This is the one that concerns me the most. Healing Shame Totem healing is increased by 30% in PvP combat, was 38%. So here's the issue with this. The reason why they're nerfing this is because primarily Restoration Shaman. So Resto Shaman, again, if you know how to play it, like, you can't really cast anything. You can't really cast your Healing Wave or your Healing Surge, which does do good healing, much like every other casted ability for any other healer, except the primary reason is that you're living in World of Warcraft 2023, which means there's no world where you can cast as a healer. And if you don't have instant casts, you're probably a bottom of the barrel healer. So the top Restoration Shaman heals was Riptide and Healing Shame Totem. Healing Shame Totem, you're constantly placing it because you have 2 charges of it, and it buffs your healing stream, or sorry, it buffs your next 3 casts of Healing Wave, Riptide, or Healing Surge. So yeah, that was just really strong. So you constantly get Healing Shame Totems out there, and you do have an honor talent, or not an honor talent, a talent that makes it so for every tick of Healing Shame Totem, it'll be increased by 10%. So yeah, Healing Shame Totem was just always going to be somewhere on the top of your healing. All right, it's a great ability. Now they're nerfing this for all of Shaman. So nerfing for Elemental, Resto, and Enhancement Shaman. Literally was not a problem for the other 2 specs. It was it was just a bit of extra healing. It's just a totem that heals you and your party members. So it was really great. So why is that being nerfed? I don't think anybody looked at, you know, Elemental Shaman's recount or a Enhancement Shaman's recount was like, oh wow, Healing Shame Totem, that's doing too much healing. I think that needs a nerf. So yeah, it's 8%, but and in the world of Blizzard, even the smallest percentages, you know, can just change the spec or change the way, you know, a certain build is going. It's proven that way since, you know, I'd say Shadowlands. Certain just small numbers just really don't have an impact, or sometimes have the greatest impact in terms of abilities that really rely on a certain percentage. So that's pretty interesting. So we had this information, stuff getting nerfed with the Shamans, Unleash Shield, Healing Shame Totem, and stuff being buffed or reworked, you know, Healing Surge, Mana Spring, and, you know, your Totemic Surge. So why are we irritated? How many weeks have gone by and just Enhancement Shaman has gotten nothing? Like literally like nothing. When I saw that Mana Spring like change, I'm like, oh, Mana Spring Totem is going to be passive now. I think I kind of just, you know, I didn't get mad. I was just like, I just took a big sigh. It's been how many weeks since Enhancement Shaman got nerfed? All right, beginning of Dragonflight, even pre-patch, you know, yes, Enhancement Shaman was doing a lot of damage. Damage that it should have been doing. One-shot damage, I should say. And that got nerfed. I'm glad it got nerfed, okay? I don't think any class should be able to one-shot. there's no world where a class should one-shot, all right? Especially when there's like no really build-up or workaround to it. Like, you know, you can't really counter a one-shot unless you just have something that can immune it completely, or something that could just ground that damage. I don't know. So that got nerfed, right? It got nerfed multiple times. Your Primordial Wave got nerfed, your Maelstrom spending got nerfed, your Elemental Blast and your Lightning Bolts got nerfed, all right? Like, it got nerfed a bit. And okay, I was content with the nerfs because they were needed. However, after those nerfs go out, you look at Enhancement Shaman. I know you're not, I don't want to say I know you're not stupid, Blizzard, but I know you're not, you know, you're not like, you don't understand what's going on. Like, you can see here, you can see after those nerfs, you see how much playtime Enhancement Shaman's having, you see what rankings Enhancement Shaman is going at in Arena, you see what the playability is like, you see, you know, videos or, you know, rants, forums, people talking about, hey, Enhancement Shaman is really lacking this. Like, it's just, you know, you clearly see how it's not up to par with other melees in the game. I know you're not blind. You may be stupid, but you're not blind. And for like how many weeks after those nerfs, you just still continuously just let it dry out. Like, I don't understand. And the reason why this is irritating is because it's like the same thing with AWC. In AWC, it's like you constantly see the same classes over and over again. You see RMP, you see the same healers, you know, especially now, fucking just all you see is Resto Druids. Like, it's annoying. It's annoying to just, that's why AWC is just so boring nowadays, because you see the same classes over and over again. Like, that's not fun. Like, you know, that's literally not fun. We like to see AWC, not only just because of, you know, the players, you know, who we like, but for a lot of newcomers who don't really understand or know who these players are, it's a chance you get to see how your class can perform at the highest level. And when it's not there, and when it hasn't been there for, you know, many AWCs in the past, it's pretty discouraging. And it's the same thing with, you know, these class tunings, where you constantly see the same classes every single week, whether it's nerfs or buffs. Especially when it's nerfs, that's how you know that, like, they're just not really taking the right approach with a lot of these classes. Warriors, paladins, you know, mages, like, you see the same classes every single week, and it's just like, what the hell, you know? It makes you think that Blizzard has a stripped, you know, line of just what they want to change every single week, and just let the other classes, like, not really get a time in the sun. All right, and I guess one of the things I want to point out is Rep Paladin. So Rep Paladin's getting, I'd say, reworked. So you see here, Final Reckoning damage reduced by 20%, Radiant Decree damage reduced by 33%, 2 set is being nerfed a bit. All right, so if you know, that's their main burst. Final Reckoning, Radiant Decree, that's their main burst. Okay, that's what's been one-shotting you this past time. However, you go down here, Crusader Strike now deals 80% increased damage. Healing Hands, 70% increased healing, alright? Rep Paladin healing is not the greatest, alright? Yeah, they have Bop and Bubble and stuff like that, and I usually use Rep Paladin as an example a lot of the times, just for the simple fact that they just have a lot in their utility. But in terms of their actual healing, it's like, yeah, their Wogs they like heal for like half of a healing surge, you know? Probably even less. So, with Wings, it's obviously a little bit better because you can crit, pretty much guaranteed. But yeah, Healing Hands is now increased by 70%. Healing Hands is a talent that makes it so your Holy Spenders, whenever you consume Holy Spenders, you'll get stacks that'll make your Flash of Light heal a bit more and make it instant cast. Tempest Verdict increased the damage by 10%. Final Verdict increased damage by 10%. Exorcism deals 80% increased damage, alright? That's all like their normal rotational ability. So they basically shifted the damage where it comes from. So now they have less burst, but they have more consistent damage. It's, you know, we don't know how it's going to be, because obviously a lot of paladins, like, they don't, if you ask any paladin, they're not going to tell you, oh, I love one-shotting people. My friend The Blade, and check him out, youtube.com/TheBlade PVP. But you can, you know, you watch his videos and he doesn't want a one-shot. He wants consistent damage. You know, consistent damage is a rarity in World of Warcraft today. So it was a good approach to nerf their burst, but compensate them in good rotational damage. Now, Enhancement Shaman was the same way. The recent nerf, quote-unquote recent nerf, but the latest nerf that happened was, what did they do? They nerfed your Maelstrom Spenders, or they nerfed your Elemental Blast and your Primordial Wave, I'm pretty sure. But they buffed your Storm Strike damage by 30%. That was amazing. Storm Strike just didn't do any single bit of damage. Like, it was all just overshadowed by your Maelstrom Spenders. But now that got nerfed, and your Storm Strikes got to do a lot of damage. Like, I'm hitting 99k Storm Strikes, literally 100k Storm Strikes. You're pretty much just dropping somebody from 100% to 40% in one global. All right, but that was because I was facing a Unholy DK, which Enhancement Shaman does well into unholy DKs and demo locks, anybody with pets. So that was pretty strong. Now, so that patch was great. It was nice to see that, okay, Blizzard they didn't just nerf a bunch of stuff or buff a bunch of stuff and just left that down. Like, no, they actually shifted where the damage came from. But after that, of course, it didn't make Enhancement Shaman just, instantly, like, super viable. Like, no, it was just a patch that it was just nice to see. But they just left it at that. They didn't change anything else in Enhancement Shaman. Like, they didn't really... Because right now, the problem of Enhancement Shaman isn't the fact that you can't do damage. Your damage is great. Your damage is, it's much... I mean, it's still less than a Warrior and a Paladin and, a Feral Druid, any other melee. But that's not the problem. The problem is that your survivability just sucks. Your CC sucks. And I guess a minor problem is that totems just die easily. But that's like a problem that, Blizzard can fix anytime, I guess. But your main issues is your lack of CC, but mostly your lack of survivability. Not necessarily heals, but the fact that you can't mitigate any damage. And just, of course, certain talents just being really weak, and your honor talents just being complete garbage. And the fact we just haven't seen anything like that, any bit of information regarding Enhancement Shaman since that buff / nerf happened. I don't even know when it was. Like, I'm pretty sure it was like a couple months ago. I think it was in like November or some shit. But yeah, you can check my video on it. I'm pretty sure I have it, and it'll tell you when it was uploaded. That's usually when the patch notes occurred. But again, it just sucks. It sucks. It's discouraging for a lot of players because every week it's the same thing of just seeing the same classes over and over again. It's like in Blizzard's eyes, they see it as like, oh, this class isn't spurring you up any trouble in the sense of like, oh, this needs a nerf, whatever. Then cool, they're just gonna leave it in the basement door, lock it, and then just focus on the classes that are actually causing a lot of player issues, because they don't really care about like buffing a lot of classes that people just A, don't play, and B, just isn't really the center main of attention. Like, no, like a lot of people play Warriors, a lot of people play Paladins, a lot of people play Warlocks and Mages, and that's naturally like the feeding frenzy of like, okay, we can focus on these classes, we can do whatever we want to them if we can get, a good reaction from the player base, because that's where our main player base is. They're playing these classes, So Enhancement Shaman and a bunch of other specs are just kind of locked away. And it sucks. It's not fun just going constant weeks, just, being completely forgotten. Like, the thing I was mainly excited about is, of course, the Red Paladin changes, but I was also excited that, Balance Druid got buffs. I haven't seen a single Balance Druid since Dragonflight. I literally haven't, So I first saw like a Balance Druid in a battleground, like literally, like, I'm not even joking, my first time seeing a Balance Druid since the start of Dragonflight. I've not seen any single one in any bit of PvP, and he was kind of smoking fools. He had full gear, like he was, decent rating, 1800, like, he was smoking fools. I loved it, That's just because I haven't seen a single Balance Druid, because Balance Druid right now just kind of stinks. So to see him just kind of pop off was really nice. It's just constantly discouraging to see, classes get nerfed and then they fall really low behind every single class, and it's like, falling lower behind classes isn't like, in Blizzard's eyes, it's like the sense of like, okay, that's balanced now. It's like, no, not really. I mean, if anything, again, I'm pretty sure everybody agrees that let's go back to MoP, where every class just had something to offer, in the sense of, yeah, every class had a viable option. Now, every spec was viable, literally every single spec. The problem nowadays is that you can't achieve that anymore, because if we could achieve it, Blizzard would have done it by now. They would have made every single class or every single spec, strong. And that's the key word, every single spec, excluding tanks, but every single spec, Elemental Shaman, Enhancement Shaman, Survival Hunter, Beast Mastery, Marksman, Asa, Sub, Outlaw, alright, Havoc, Unholy, Frost, like every single spec I would want to see be very strong, be strong in their own rights, be on the same level, where not one is stronger than the other, but not one is weaker than the other. Maybe certain matchups and comps, obviously you'll struggle into, but that's just natural PvP, all right? That's just how the way it goes. But we can't achieve that anymore, we just can't achieve that anymore, because we already just have so many classes just sitting at the bottom of the barrel, and it's just like nowadays in 2023, like, people just want more nerfs instead of buffs, but that's mostly just people who are like, just don't really understand PvP that much. But unfortunately, that's the majority of people who play the game, you know, are just not that, you know, people who don't really understand what's happening, you know. So it's just, it sucks, you know. I mean, it sucks. I mean, especially me, like, again, I'm somebody who cares for other people, you know. So, like, you know, like, I'm rooting for balance druids, I'm rooting for, like, you know, outlaw rogues, or just any other class, any other spec that just, you know, has seen very little playtime, you know, in Dragonflight. And again, to see balance druid get buffed was amazing, but, you know, of course, every single week that passes by, you see the same thing, same classes get changed, and it's like, okay, like where am I at in this circle? Like, am I just the one who's forgotten? It sucks. You know, like, I really wish it was like a cycle, you know, if Blizzard actually did, you know, care about, you know, balancing or like making PvP enjoyable for, you know, everybody. Every week would be a different cycle of buffing and nerfing different classes. Like, this week would be, you know, paladins and warriors and monks and, you know, arcane mages, I guess, and, you know, feral druids. Next week would be, you know, rogues and, you know, enhancement shamans. Like, you know, every week would be a different cycle. But no, every week is the same. It's the same track on replay of just, hey, there's another paladin, hey, there's another warrior change, you know, like, hey, there's another mage. Like, it's just the same thing over and over again, and that's what just really irritates me, you know, that the fact that I haven't seen a single enhancement shaman, you know, just at all, like, in these class tunings. Okay, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people who play, you know, specs are, you know, are considered dead this expansion feel the same way. So it's rough, but I just kind of wanted to, you know, I wanted to share the steam with a lot of people, because, you know, enhancement shaman players are, you know, probably one of the most, you know, I guess, angry players out there, just, and they have every right to be, you know. But just remember, keep your cool. All right, I kind of wanted to share the experience with you. All right, but now I got it out of my system. I'm level-headed, I'm relaxed. So that's all I wanted to share for you. I am going to make a video talking about the struggles of enhancement shaman, just talking about issues and possible solutions, and maybe some like fun reworks, you know, that could happen with that could happen with enhancement shaman. So I'll have the video. That'll be tomorrow's upload. But guys, the video is now closing. Hopefully you all had an amazing day. And hopefully you all see a beautiful sunset. Again, links in the description if you want to see more Big Tuna. And of course, subscribe. Sorry, not subscribe if you want to. But follow twitch.tv/BigDickTuna. I'm streaming there. Again, I streamed yesterday. And if you couldn't catch me there, you can catch me live today when this video uploads, or around when this video uploads. But guys, hopefully you all have an amazing day. Hopefully you all see a beautiful sunset. Hopefully you all have a beautiful morning tomorrow. And I'll see you guys in the next live. Peace. You make me feel real when you tell me something.